Happy Wednesday. Happy last day of winter. Tomorrow will officially be the first day of spring in the northern hemisphere. But I think in my little corner of the world, spring has sprung because all the citrus blossoms are blooming and all the flowers are blooming. The bees are very busy at work, and the birds are ready to welcome their new generation of youngins. And it's just a great time to be alive. The weather is just right. When you go outside, the citrus blossoms in particular release this tantalizing fragrance that is just so hypnotizing, and it just makes it so pleasant to be outside. It's just a great season. And I've just been thinking about how spring is all about new beginnings, new growth, welcoming new lessons into your life. If you think about spring as a metaphor, it's all about letting go of the old and embracing new things in your life, new people, new lessons. And there's a siren. There's this quote that has been in my head recently, and it goes as follows. It's from the Tao Te Ching, and I'm sure you've heard of it before because maybe you've read the Tao Te Ching, or it's a pretty popular quote, but if you haven't, it goes like this. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And there's a second part to that quote. And usually if you read that quote or you've seen that quote somewhere, it usually just ends there. But the second part of the quote goes like this. But when the student is truly ready, the teacher will disappear. Now, I've been thinking about the connections that I've made in my life and the people that have really impacted my life in a positive way, and how they came into my life in the exact moment that I needed them, in a moment where I was receptive to learning certain lessons about my life, certain truths about myself, certain truths about reality, certain truths about the world we live in, society, about other people. And the people that I have created this connection with me, it's been very healing because it's allowed me to get closer to a happy place within myself. But if you've seen my content before, if you've seen a few of my videos, you may or may not know that I have traveled a lot and I've met a lot of people. And by a lot, I mean hundreds of people. And that is no exaggeration. I've met hundreds of people from all walks of life, from different corners of the world, from different countries, from countries I've never even heard of. And it's been a great experience. And some of the people that I have met have come into my life so briefly, but have been so healing for me. Either because we went on adventures together and I learned something about myself. I learned how I interact with others, or I learned a truth about people in general, or it was because we had a very good conversation that led me to discovering something within myself. Or it was just an act of kindness that someone else has done to me. And or the opposite has also been true. Some people have been not so nice on my journey, and I've learned from that as well. But there have been people in my life that have come at the most important moment that I needed them, that I needed to learn a lesson. And I was receptive to learning those lessons, to learning something within myself that I may not have been receptive before, or I may not have been open to learning about myself or about the world around me before. And so I do believe that people come into your life and you learn certain lessons about your life when you are ready for them, when you are receptive, when you are open to learning those things. But I also believe that those connections sometimes are not meant to be kept forever. In the beginning of my travels, especially when I started traveling alone, it was really hard for me to let go of people, especially when we had gone on adventures together or we had really great conversations or we had done things together. It was really hard for me to say goodbye because deep down inside I knew that I'd probably never see them again, and or maybe there is a possibility, because I have seen some people that I've traveled with before, some in some other country, or years later I've met up with them, but the connection just wasn't the same, And so when you let go of people, it used to be very hard for me to let go of people because deep down inside I knew I'm either never going to see them again, or B, the connection won't be the same because we're going to be two different people when we meet up again. There have been people that have come into my life and taught me something about myself that I may not have been receptive in the past to learn or to accept. But they came into my life and they showed me something, but eventually they disappeared. And by disappearing, I mean either the connection ran its course or, the person died. That has happened. And there is this grieving process that happens because although I'm very grateful for the lessons that this person has gifted me with, bestowed upon me, I'm also equally saddened by the fact that I may never see or have a similar connection with them in the future. And that is something that I have grieved about, because there's a part of you, or at least I can only speak for myself, there's a part of me that becomes attached, that makes it hard for me to accept that the connection ran its course. And so I have to let go. I have been learning. I've gotten better over the years, and especially now that I've traveled a lot and I've met people from different walks of life, and I've let go of a lot of people. And now I can't say I'm used to it, but I'm accustomed to that feeling of having to let go. And I guess this doesn't only apply to traveling, this also applies to connections in your own life that you make in your own community, where you have a friend and you've shared many, or you're in a relationship and you've shared many wonderful moments with them, but then eventually the connection runs its course and you grieve about that. But the second part of the Tao Te Ching, of that quote that I said earlier, is very important to remember, because people come into your life, as they say, for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But what I have also learned is that the people that come into your life for a reason and a season, it's not a bad thing that they're no longer in your life. They came briefly into your reality to teach you a truth about yourself. But now, just like a teacher, when you're in like 5th grade or 6th grade or 7th grade, the teacher can only go to a certain level with you, and then you have to move on to the next grade. You're in 5th grade and the year ends and you'll never have that teacher again, and then you go on to 6th grade and you have another teacher, and you'll never have that teacher again once you're done with that year. And that's how life is. There are people in your life that can only teach you something, a certain level about yourself, about a truth of life or of society. They can only teach you so much, and then they go, because their time, their lessons, the lessons that they have gifted you have come to an end, and you have to move on. And embrace. And I think this is why I was bringing up spring. It's all about embracing new people, and being okay with letting go of the old, being okay with letting go of those that meant a lot in our lives, but you come to terms with the fact that they were meant to be your teacher for a short amount of time, but not forever. Yeah. I hope that you have an amazing life, and I'm sure that you've had many teachers in your life, not only through grade school or university, high school, whatever it is, but teachers of life. And I'm sure you've learned a lot of things from them, but you have to be okay with letting them go, because they can only guide you a certain way through, but they can't be with you through your whole journey. You have to, and I think for me, the lesson that I have learned is that eventually you have to learn to walk your path independently. And of course, there are people that are guiding lights on that path, and they steer you the right way. But eventually they have to go, either because the connection ran its course, or because they died, or because that's life. So I hope you have an amazing life, and I hope you're excited for spring. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, I hope you're excited for fall. Have an amazing journey. Peace and love. Bye.